Well, this has been way overdue. I've been wanting to upgrade the stereo system to this BMW for quite a while. I kind of put it in the back burner for a year and finally getting back around to it. And so I'll show you what I received and what the stereo that we're putting in looks like. I believe it's an 8-inch screen if I remember correctly. This came in the box. There was another phone piece here, but I take it out just for filming. But we'll go over the harnesses and the tools you'll need to do this install. It's pretty simple. I did some work ahead of time. I already installed the GPS sensor, and I installed the rear backup light, or not light, but camera. But it has a light built into it, and I'll show you which one I picked here. It's integrated through the license plate light with the LED. If you can see it right here. So it has an LED that replaces the original plate light, and then the camera's connected to that, and it's got LEDs on this too. So this has all been pre-wired already by myself off camera. All this is just tied into the reverse lights, and then there's two wires that go all the way up front underneath the dash where we're going to install the stereo. So don't forget to do that if that's what you intend to do. It's a Hizpo system. I'll remove everything out and kind of go over everything. So this system here, it's a single DIN. So here it goes, Hizpo system. So I believe it's an 8-inch screen. Only downside from it is I'm used to having a knob for volume adjustment, but it does give you the CAN bus decoder. Things are tied together. Okay, here we go. So it does come with the decoder here, and so you can use your steering wheel function. So that's a definite need. So it did come with that in the kit. One thing to note, it comes with 2 different harnesses. I'll be using this style here. This fits my vehicle, and I guess this one fits other vehicles. I'm not familiar with it, but it does come with 2 different ones. So I'm gonna put this one aside. We don't need this one. But first thing to note before we do absolutely anything on here is that these are actually 2 different harnesses, and what I did is I connected these 2 wires between the harnesses. One says an amp connection. Let's see if it comes up on camera here. Amp connection, so I connect it here to where it says antenna. So it's really important to do this before you do anything installing this vehicle. It supplies power to the player. It's needed for some functions, in other words. So the first thing first, do this. If you don't do this and you forget to do this and you turn everything on, it's not going to work. So always do this first. It also comes with a extended USB plug-in. So you can put this in the glove box or wherever you need it. Comes with that. It comes with a Wi-Fi antenna. And that's needed because it's an Android system, so you can hook up to the internet, you can hook up to your phone, all that good stuff to update whatever you need, download. There's all types of stuff you can do. So I won't go over all the Android stuff that the stereo does. You can probably look up on YouTube on other tutorials on what you can actually do with that. So this is just basic install, just straight up. So, and then they give me an extension. Well, not extension, I think it's an adapter for the antenna. I'm not sure if we're going to need this or not. We'll find out during the process. And it gives you another extension piece for an external microphone. Now, this kit did not come with a microphone, so just be aware. I bought a separate one here, and that just plugs in there, and it's just a simple microphone that you can put anywhere in the car. So that's up to you to get. Let's see here. And it comes with another USB cable here. So I think it's 2 of them. Yes. So it comes with 2 USB connections. This one says it's for the 3G Wi-Fi. and this one just says just regular USB, so I guess that's the difference there. And it comes with another cable here. Move this out of the way. This is for any external players you might put onto your system, if it's a video game system or a DVD player, or whatnot. Shoot, maybe you have a VCR still. I don't know. I don't. But here, so it comes with that. The tools needed for this install is pretty straightforward. I'm going to use a plastic trim piece remover and just a standard Phillips screwdriver. So what we'll do is I'll get everything set up inside. Okay, I think we're all set up here. I guess first things first is this car being an automatic. I'm gonna put the ignition to I guess on mode, and I'm gonna put my stick shift or the shifter in drive. Make sure your e-brake is on and turn it on. So at this point you could disconnect your battery if you want. I'm not going to. It's pretty straightforward. I don't think anything's going to go wrong. I'm not worried about it. So, but if you're worried about it, please disconnect your battery. Just be on the safe side. So, first thing first is we're going to remove this tray here, the useless tray, and by doing that, I just pop it out, and I grip both sides, and I kind of slowly shake it out. It should slip right out, so it's fairly easy. Plastic piece to pop out. All the things that snap in are plastic. Doesn't look like they're real brittle, so that comes out first. Put that aside. We're not going to use this, so you can put it in storage or whatever. This area is for the area that we're going to put the AC controls down here. Now I don't have, I mean, it'll fit perfectly here. It might look a little bit off once transferring it because of these curved sides here. So it's curved here, and so if you get the actual faceplate that's made from BMW that has the navigation system, that's what you want. I just don't have it. I haven't found one, and when I do find it, it's like $200, and it just doesn't seem worth it for me at this point. So just keep in mind when we transfer the AC, the HVAC controls down here, that's going to look a little bit off, but it's not too bad. So if you can live with it, you can live with it, and I can live with it. Next thing is we're going to remove all these trim panels. These trim panels, I mean, it's got this overlay wood, but the panels are actually made out of metal. So chances of you damaging these things by prying on them is very slim to none. The only thing you worry about is where they're connected into. There's little plastic grommets that go into the dash. Sometimes those pop off along with the metal piece that comes out. So you know, just watch out for that. You can probably snap them back in, and you'll be okay. So we'll start with here first. I like to start on this edge here and just kind of twist it. You don't have to be real violent with it. Just kind of corks it out a little bit. And then see if you can get your hand in here. So you go back around. Let me hold that here. Make sure the camera's catching what I'm doing. I'm going to turn you a little bit. There we go. So then come under here and just kind of twist. See, they pop out. So these are the little tabs I was telling you about here. On this car, they're orange. You can tell one came out over here. And you just kind of pop it back in. Well, this one's not going to go in, it looks like, but I'll have to do something later with that one. Probably glue that piece back on it or tape it. So we'll go back over here and start with the next trim piece. There we go. So I'll start from this edge here. And that one's pretty easy. It's held in by the other piece. And then you have one piece here that's similar to these here. So I'll just put the tab here and just twist. Get it loose. And see if I can convince it to come out. There we go. So the same thing. It's all metal, so it's not plastic. Don't worry about these things breaking. So I know I know you don't want to damage any BMW parts like that. So, all right. So next thing is we're gonna get the Phillips screwdriver that I bring along, and there's gonna be 4 screws that we gotta remove. I already have one missing on this side, so ignore this one. But we got this one, 1, 2, 3, and this one is 4. So. Now with the stereo, I kind of already prepped and test fitted this guy in here. Kind of cheated on you, but that's a good thing. What I end up having to do is cut a little bit of the dashboard to make it fit flush. So I'll show you what I did here in a second. You can use any cutting tool. I didn't want to use a really fast cutting tool where I wasn't going to be able to control it, or I was going to make a big mess. So what I end up doing is I use an electric kitchen knife and used it to trim the dash piece I'm about to show you. And this screw is being a little bit stubborn. There we go. Okay, and so next thing is to remove this vent. If you never removed this vent, if no one's ever removed this vent before on your car, it might be real stiff. It might be a little bit difficult to get out. The only thing I can suggest is what I do is I grab it under here, underneath, and push upward and then pull. There we go. Okay, so the next thing is to actually remove the stereo, and you just grab both ends, give it a shake a little bit. There we go. Shake it loose, pull it straight out. And so the harness is not very long on this car. So what you want to do is disconnect the items you do have, like the antenna here. So there's the antenna, so we're going to need that adapter the kit came with. And then this piece here just slides out. So this piece here, pull it, and it'll snap the connector out. And that's all there is to this one. Put this one back here. Alright, so the next step is to remove the HVAC controls. There's a small hole in the plastic right here. What you want to do is just get your hand in here and just grab onto the panel and kind of push it, and it'll pop right out. And all these we're going to have to disconnect and reroute all these wires down to the bottom portion here. So this one snaps out and gets a push and slide. Yes, it pushes and slides out. This is a push out. This is a push out. And this one, let's see how this one comes out. There we go. There's no push on that one. You just got to grip it. I should have got some needle nose pliers and did it, but it came out. So we're gonna push all these wires down beneath to the new gap. So we get enough length to pull them through. There we go. Right through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just plug these back in. Get the big one first. Push in and slide over. There we go. Should slide in over softly. So if it's difficult to slide over, then it's not in place yet. I'm just putting this in wrong. Let's see, what am I doing here? There we go. I turned around. And then this last one. All these connections go in only one way, so you can't mess it up. Alright, so I'm gonna slide this controller into its new place. Right down here. And you can tell, let me get the camera for you. You can tell right away that, see, there's a slight gap underneath here where the controls meet. So it's not that much of a clean, you know, finish, but it fits in here nicely. A little bit loose, but like I said, if you get one of those other panels, then you switch it out. But if you can live with it like this, you can live with it, and that's what I'm gonna do. So everything's still visible to you, so everything works out. All right, so next spot. Okay, so we're going to remove this plastic piece in here. We don't need it no more, not for our application. So there's 2 screws holding it in, one on each side. We're going to take those out. Slowly slide everything out. Make sure you get your screws. So of course I'm going to save all this stuff just in case I switch back to stock. Alright, so now it exposes this whole huge area. And the area of concern I wanted to show you is this area here. There's actually, the part of the dash actually sticks out to this point here. So you see where this lines up. Let me see if I can get this thing in here. So it actually lines up to here, so that you can tell there's a lot of dash piece missing here, and this is on both sides. So even on this side here, where it fits flat, there's a lot of dash pieces missing. So what I used is a Black & Decker electric kitchen knife, you know, for cutting meat. And it worked perfectly. The right amount of speed, doesn't make a lot of mess, and I can trim it slowly just to make sure I didn't trim too much. So just remember, you're gonna have to trim here and here to fit this unit in here flushly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull out the wires that we're gonna use. And like I said, I had a lot of things already pre-wired. This is for the GPS. The GPS, I put it on the inside and then put it on the outside of the cards on top of the windshield on the A-pillar. So that's held on by double stick tape. I didn't want to put it on the outside. It should work fine where it's at, but we'll find out later on in the process, but it should work just fine. And of course your antenna piece, and then your harness. And in here somewhere I should have the wiring for the backup camera we did, which is this is here. So here's the power wire that I'm going to get loose here, and then the video wire here. So this is all the stuff that are pre-wired. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start with the antenna and put the adapter on there. It's straightforward, it's plug and play. That's all it is, that one. We're going to get the large harness that has the blue wire connected to each other. Make sure the decoder's on there. And then we have one wire for the brakes, which I'm not going to mess with. Illumination, I'm not going to mess with today either. This is going to be basic install. K1 wire, I'm not totally sure what that is. And there's the backup wire. And this backup wire is the one that is going to go into our red wire here. So I got to get the right stuff to solder this together and do all that good stuff on that one. And then this is, let me see which one's the backup camera here. Video out. I believe the backup camera is this one here that's labeled CCD AV in. So I'm going to plug this one up first. course, we're going to connect these 2 wires here. I'll do it off camera here in a second. And then, and this connection here is going to slide into this one. The main harness here. This is that piece that kind of snaps together. That is. That's it. So bear with me for a second. I'm going to get some solder, and when we get back, we will have this thing wired up cleanly. Okay, so I got all the wires tied up here. Next thing is to grab our head unit here and start connecting some of these items. So I believe this one says GPS, so this one's got to be the Wi-Fi antenna. So we'll screw these things in there. Next, so I'll do the Wi-Fi antenna here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this one to the side. I'm not sure how much clearance we're going to have once we go underneath, or it gets installed underneath. You know, it's not going to hit nothing up here. So that one, and then we have our, if I can find it here, here we go, our GPS here. So we'll screw that, oops, sorry. So the GPS unit here as well. Oh, don't move, camera. Okay, makes filming difficult. Okay, install that fairly finger tight. Okay, so we got that, and we're still in frame. Okay, yes. Okay, what else can we do? We can do the antenna next. I guess over it says radio here. So that's in there. The next is the main harness. And if you don't like all these wires hanging around after your install, you can get some zip ties and clean everything up. I will as well. I won't right now, since this is just a simple how-to install. This main harness goes here. Oops, sorry. Okay, she's in. And there should be one more here. Let's see. Where does this guy go? Okay, they can go only in one spot. So this other one goes here. That snaps in. Good. And then you got your other connections if, you know, you're going to put them in. Like, for instance, the USB cable for me might be useful. I'll probably install it in the glove box. You know, you can get creative and put in the ashtray. You know, maybe cut a hole out and you can have a little USB plug in here. Since this car has none, unless you have an external, you know, USB to cigarette lighter type thing. So let's see if there's these are all gapped or slotted to fit, so you can't mess that up either. So for instance, that won't go there, but we know for sure it goes here. So it's kind of like kids' toys, the blocks. You know, circle goes in a circle, square goes in a square type thing. So it's just a little bit more complicated. So I'll leave that in the USB in there, and I'll go when I go back and clean all this up. Then I can put that somewhere. But for now, I'm just going to hide it back here, right over the glove box area. Alright, camera, stop moving. So I'm going to find a good way to fit all these wires in here. I guess the best way to do it would be, this looks like a mess, yes I know, is to slowly tuck it in. Maybe some of these bigger wires, like the main harness and the decoder box, kind of slide them all the way and down underneath, where you have, you know, you got room underneath this head unit for that. What I'll do is I'm gonna slide this thing in there. You can tell how flush it fits because I already cut the connections. So, and we have a couple areas here. See if we can get it more flush. What I'm seeing so far is this sticks out a little bit here. There we go. So you make sure you want it all the way. The only real way to mount this is it has these two tabs on top. They're metal tabs on both sides. And looks like that's the only point that you can actually mount this to the dashboard with. You see the other one on this side here. And so that goes to the AC vent. Let me get this wire off real quick. Let me get this camera back in position. Okay, so I get the Hvac. Make sure not to scratch the screen. I think I still have a protector on there. All right, so I'm going to do this mess that I did. That didn't work out too well. All right, that's out. So I'm going to put the AC vent back in there. You gotta get those tabs kind of around the stereo here. There we go. So we can snap it in there. There we go. It's back in. So that lays over those two silver tabs I just showed you here on the sides. And that's the only point, or the only area you're going to be able to mount the stereo to using the existing Phillips screws that we're going to reuse. So you're going to kind of do a reach around to get to them. Oh, come on, get it. Find a hole. Everything looks lined up. I'm just not hitting the hole. There we go. Got found there. Let's see. That's tight. And get the other side. Like I said, it's a little bit of a tight fit, but it's doable. And overall, it sits in there very steady. Surprisingly, it sits in there very nicely. It doesn't move much. I think I was moving the car more than I was moving that thing. Alright, so see how this trim piece goes over it. This way first. The thing is you gotta try to get in on the back side here with the trim. I want to see if I can actually get this in here first and maybe twist it in. There it is. I think I might have gotten it. Okay, so that's it. I think I got it. Now let's see if it'll snap in to place. Yep, there it is. So we know we got that trim missing on this side there. And so let me go around the other side of the car and do that real quick. Piece on. back on smooth. Okay, next thing is to fire up this car and see if we installed everything right. I'll get this camera into view. So I'll put the car back into on position. Make sure I put the car back in park. It looks like she's loading up here. At this point, remember you want to go over your AC controls. Make sure they still work. Yeah, it looks like they work here. This kind of gives you a good idea how long it takes to load up. Looks like we have everything on here. Check the stereo volume. Yes, sir, it works. So, I mean, it seems like a pretty good unit. It looks like it has a mic here up front, a little SD card slot. You want to put music. Hit reverse, and there you go. Works perfectly. So that's what we're looking for. Overall, it's a fairly easy install. You know, I believe anybody can do it. Pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, I'm going to play with this as much as I possibly can. So if there's questions about it, I can answer them. If you got questions about the install and you need some help, let me know. Put comments down below. I'll give you my personal email, you know, text number, whatever, to help you out. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps.